Hello, everybody. J.A. Huss here with The Perfect Year, a successful book release strategy for authors. We're on video 7, running sales and making box sets. Okay, let's get started. The Perfect Year is the 6-step process that I've been talking about for the past several weeks. And we've gone through all the steps now: the cover reveal, the pre order, the giveaways, the ARC list, the new release. And we're on the last component of the perfect year, and it's called discounts or running sales and making box sets. Next week, I'm going to show you how to plan an entire year using these 6 steps so that you'll have consistent sales, or because it really depends on how many books you release per year to come up with how consistent your sales will be. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to lay it all out for you next week, and you're going to see as we go through the video next week what a difference it makes when you plan a certain number of releases each year. So this week, of course, we're running sales and box sets. And a sale is when you discount your book, and you can use BookBub ads and Facebook ads, or you can use other advertisers, smaller advertisers than BookBubs, and still get a decent result. And the box sets is when you box up your series books. Usually it's a series. I'm sure probably some people are doing this with standalones, but I don't know why you would. But I'm sure people do everything. And the pricing for box sets and sales is one thing I want to show you is that it's not always. You shouldn't automatically jump to 99 cents or free if that's still where you're at. You don't have to do it that way. And then covers for the box sets. Should you do 3D or just a flat 2D cover? I'm just going to go ahead and answer that now because I don't have any other slides on it. And I don't think it matters, really. I don't use the 3D covers anymore, but that's just me. I just choose to do 2D. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer that one right now and say, I don't think it matters. So with running sales and box sets, the one thing that you really need to understand is that a sale isn't to make money, right? You put things on sale for future benefits, not really the benefit that you get right now. I don't really make money off of sales, and I usually sell a lot of books when I decide to go all in on a sale. So I don't know. Because you really have to sell a lot at 99 cents. Or, of course, if you're giving the book away free, you have to have people who are going to read through your series and pay full price. Stop thinking about sales in terms of money. Start thinking about them in terms of just opportunities to find new readers. Because I think that's really all it is. One thing you need to know about sales is that you have to understand your selling potential and your selling history. And if you're a brand new author, of course, you're not going to be able to know this. So you kind of have to get through your first year on your own, and then you can start using past experiences to make future decisions in your second year. But if you're an author who's been doing this for 1 or 2 or 3 or more years, then you definitely can go and look at your Amazon ranking over on Author Central and extrapolate some conclusions from it. And I'm going to show you that next. But one thing I want to show you with this slide here is that sales run in cycles. And if you know your cycle, you can predict low sales. That will help you plan for the best time to run a discount or a box set or any of the other things that we're going to talk about in this video. So when to discount or box up your books. But one thing I want to tell you, you should stick to your schedule. Whatever you decide that schedule is, don't deviate from it unless your daily sales are so low you basically have nothing to lose in the future if you don't do something now, because you're not going to be around next year if you don't do something now. Okay, that's fine. Or you get a special occasion like a holiday, Valentine's Day. People like to run those, although I did release an audiobook this Valentine's Day, but it wasn't my decision. It was my publisher. But usually I stay far away from the holiday promos because everybody's doing them, right? You're just more chatter out there that people are trying to tune out. So I try and stay away from those. But if you want to do that, it's fine. There's all kinds of things you can do around the holidays. It may or may not include putting your books on sale at a discount. Or anniversaries of books. Sometimes if I'm on top of things and I'm not too busy in the next year, I like to put the book up for sale for the very first time on its anniversary, 1 year anniversary. And then that's kind of just something I do. So maybe you want to do that too. But the important takeaway is sales go up and sales go down. And this is what drives authors crazy because they don't like that. Nobody likes that. Everybody wants to get paid a certain amount of money every month, and you want to know what that number is going to be. Which is why, when we go all the way back to the beginning of this course, I talked about how I need to earn a certain amount of money every month because I really just crave that stability. And I've worked very hard over the past few years trying to get to this point, and finally I'm there and it feels pretty damn good. This is a slide of my author ranking on Amazon, and it goes all the way back to September 2012 when I first released my very first book, and that was science fiction. And so I have these little anomalies on my little graph here numbered. And so number 1 is the beginning of my career. That's when I'm writing science fiction. Number 2, when it spikes way up, near in the top 10,000, that's when my first breakout book, Tragic, released in 2013. The next one is a really depressing, drop in rank, and number 3, and that's what book 2, Manic, released. And after releasing Tragic at 99 cents, it really, it did well. So I was happy. It was like, yay, this is good. This was a good move. And then I was like, but I can't live on this money. Because at this point, I didn't have a job. This is my only job. So I'm like, I really can't live on 99 cents. So I'm not going to do that. I released Manic at full price, which was $3.99 back then, which now I look back and think that was crazy. I should have at least done $2.99, but I didn't know. It was new. And so I didn't put it on sale. And I didn't run any advertising for it. I just let it ride. And it was a painful couple of months. I'll tell you that right now. After that first initial success, to feel like it's all going away, right? So I just had to put my head down and keep going and know that I had a long-term strategy in mind. And this is exactly the one that I'm telling you now. And I was not going to fall into temptation to put that book on sale. And so right afterwards, you can see it late in the number 3 box, it spikes back up. And that's when the third book released. And I did put the book 2 on sale for 99 cents for the release week of book 3, which was a great thing to do, at least at that point in time. Because apparently a bunch of people had put the second book on their wish list, and Amazon, I'm pretty sure, sent out alerts saying a book in your wish list is on sale, and the new book went out at the same time. So I got this really great spike when book 3 came out, and once book 3 came out, you can see, I'm going to point out all those other anomalies to you along the way, but you can see that once book 3 came out, I never had the giant fluctuations that I had before that first successful book released. So number 4 is when I decided I was getting ready to release book 5 or 6, I think 5 and 6. It was a novella and a novel called Bomb and Guns. And I'm like, I really would like a book bub for, I don't know, it was probably the box set maybe, or Tragic. It might have been Tragic. And it might even have been for free. But I'm like, I really want to get in the category erotic romance. And I thought they were going to pigeonhole me into new adult romance, which just doesn't work as well as erotic romance. Erotic romance is a great category. I had this really great idea that I was going to switch all my categories on my Rick and Rona books and put them all in erotica. And they threw me in the dungeon or something. I'm not even sure what happened. But sales just stopped. It just stopped. And then I noticed this, I never look at this thing on Author Rank, and I happened to come over to Author Central, and for whatever reason, I saw this, and I was like, holy fuck. I took them all out of erotica, put them back into romance, and it took a little while for it to settle, but then I had a book release, thank God, in between that time, and it picked right back up, and so it was like, crisis averted. But that is the strange dip at number 4, is when I try to go with that brilliant idea to change all my categories to erotica. So number 5, you can see that really straight line up near the, top of the graph. That's when the social media novella series was releasing, and it's 6 novellas, and they released 2 weeks apart in the summer and fall of 2014. And that straight line is what woke me up, like completely woke me up. And I show you guys that graph all the time in my stability graph for social media. And then that really big drop at the end, I don't know why this happens, but I put it in KU because one of the sneaky bitchy reps over there at Amazon was like, we're going to offer you this you're not allowed to talk about deal. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I did. And that's what happens to me when I put books in KU. Like, I don't know if this happens to you guys or not, but every time this is what happens to me. So anyway, when they went into KU, it dropped really low, and then they went back up right afterwards because they actually did really well in KU. And I shouldn't complain too much about bitchy rep over at Amazon because I did make a lot of money off of it, but I'll never do it again. So then we get into 2015, and that's when I had my New York Times bestseller, and that's when things really started going crazy good. And you could see it's a lot more stable. You can still see that my sales steadily drop after release, right? And then when they shoot up, that's the new release. And then they're kind of steady for a while, and then they drop. And then they shoot up with a new release, and they're kind of steady and they drop. And you see it's like a little pattern that I had going for like the entire year. And then number 6 is when my book Rock went into KU again. Like, I'm telling you, this is when I have all the fluctuations. It's always Amazon doing this to me. It's not like my schedule. And so it had this really funky, I don't know what that weird bullshit is, but Amazon was doing a lot of crazy stuff last spring with the reviews. Remember the reviews? Everybody's reviews got like taken down, and they were threatening all these bloggers. It was just crazy stupid. But it's reflected in my ranking, and therefore it was probably reflecting in my sales. But luckily, I had already planned the Mr. series, and the rest of my year was fabulous. All the way until November 2016, when the USA had its election, and people just decided to stop, I don't know, reading. But luckily, they popped right back up afterwards, and we're doing good again. So this is a good look, and I don't know what anybody else's graph looks like, but I think it's really interesting that I can pick out an event for every one of these anomalies on this graph. So it's taught me a lot of things when I go back and look and ask myself, what was happening here? What was happening there? And I keep everything on a Google Calendar all the way back to 2012. So I can actually go back on the calendar and say what happened in April 2013. You know what I mean? Like, I can totally look it up. So that's nice. I'm kind of different when it comes to most authors, indie authors, with running sales and boxing and all that other stuff. And I have rules, and my blanket rule is I don't put a book on sale until it's been out for a year. I do this because it's not fair to my fans who are so eager to read and buy the book on release day, for full price, $3.99 or $2.99 or whatever it's going to be. It's not going to be 99 cents, and they know that. But after being with me for a long time and reading all my books as they come out, they understand this and they trust me. They know, okay, if we buy Julie's book today on release day, we know that next week she's not going to get some stupid advice to go put it on sale for 99 cents and fuck us all over, right? Because they know that. They know it's not going to happen. And I haven't had somebody, ever, like maybe once a year, somebody will message me on my author page and say, are you going to box this up? And I always say, nope, I'm sure not. I'm sure not going to box that up. So I wouldn't hold your breath. If you're waiting for the Misters to be on sale for a 99-cent box set, like, it's never going to happen, ever. So I think it's good that your fans know they can trust you, and if they spend their hard-earned money on your book on release day, that you're not going to screw them over in a couple of weeks or a month and put it on sale for 99 cents, because they don't like that, and they remember that. And the next time your book comes out at full price, they're going to say, this bitch, she puts her shit on sale 5 weeks after release, so I'm just going to wait. Like, you're just shooting yourself in the foot when you do that, okay? So don't do it. So, as I said, other times that I'll put books on sales on anniversaries, their 1 year anniversary, or I don't know, something else. If there's a new spin-off from a series, like, well, I just put 18 on sale this week, so I won't be doing it this fall when the spin-off comes out. But I do have a spin-off that will release next year for Taking Turns, and I probably will put Taking Turns on sale for that. It'll be a year anyway. Or if you have an audiobook release, because you get Whisper Sync, and so you can really boost an audiobook release if they're Whisper Synced, and you put your ebook on sale for 99 cents, and then people will buy the audiobook. So that's a good time to put a book on sale. But I definitely no box sets for any series until a year at least after it's been out. And there's just so many reasons why you want to do this. There's just so many opportunities to use those books over and over and over. And the minute you put that book on sale, your opportunities dwindle. Okay? Because BookBub, if you want a BookBub, you can't be putting that shit on sale. They don't like that. So if you're wondering why you're not getting a BookBub and you keep putting your stuff on sale and then saying, oh, they're never going to know. No, bitch, they know. They know. Okay, so don't do it. Okay, and another thing, like when you're planning what you're going to do for marketing, I always ask myself, what are my fans going to think of this? It's funny because I don't ask myself that when I write the book. I never really ask myself what they're going to think of this book because I don't care. But I do ask myself that when I'm marketing to them because I don't want to annoy them. This is why I'm not into the newsletter thing and why I don't put up a lot of blog posts. Like once a week is a lot for me, and so I'm kind of worried right now that that the people who follow this blog regularly and get that email that I put up a new post, like I don't want to piss them off. I have so many things I want to blog about right now because I've had like 3 audiobooks released since I started doing this series, but I don't want to overwhelm people, so I don't put it up. There'll be a time, and I'm okay with that, so I'm okay with waiting. But I don't want to piss them off by putting up bullshit. So I always ask myself, what are my fans going to think about this blog post or this newsletter or this post on Facebook? Because while I don't care during release week, because I think it's a 1-week strategy and I think they'll deal with it, I don't do that shit all the time. So I'm not on my author page 3 or 4 times a day posting shit. No, I'm not. I don't think the author page is... I mean, I know a few people who use them very well. Like, Colleen Hoover is really good at it. She, like, rocks the Facebook. Colleen Hoover should run a class on it. But she has a special relationship with her fans and her readers and her friends. And it just works for her. And that doesn't work for me, so I don't do it. But I always ask myself, am I going to get something back if I bug my fans with this? And if I decide the answer is yes, then I go for it. Otherwise, I don't do it. If I don't need it, I don't do it. So I think it's a good question to ask yourself, unless you have some really special banter like Colleen Hoover does on her pages. Now, what I do have a very special place is my fan group, the Shrike Bikes fan groups that I'm always talking about. And I'll post anything I want in there. Because I think that's like my special place where I have a good relationship with the people that are in there. And I know I'm not going to piss them off. I never get that feeling about them in there at all. So I'm not ever worried about it. But they're the really big fans, right? Okay, so this is my chart of books that released since 2013. And except for 2017. Almost all of these books have been on sale in some way at some point. Not all of them have been put on sale directly. Like I've never had Panic at 99 cents, and I've never had Guns at 99 cents, and I've never had Come Back at 99 cents, and I've never had, what's another one? Well, that's it, I guess. I've never had these later books in a series on sale by themselves, because I don't run any promos for anything other than a book one. Or a standalone. I'm sure other people do that, but I just don't. I just don't even waste my time. And the reason I don't waste my time is because I don't have time to run more than a couple sales a year. And that's the good thing about my release schedule is that I don't have to worry about this sales and promotions and box set stuff very often. So the ones with the red stars on them have never been on sale in any way. That means they've never been in a box set. They didn't release at 99 cents. They didn't ever go on sale. So they never been discounted in any way whatsoever. And the ones in the box have never been boxed up. And you'll notice that I have a series from 2014 that has never been boxed. But I kind of take that back because the first two books, Come and Come Back, did have their own 2-box set when the third book came out. But the 3 books together have never been boxed up. And you're probably wondering, like, why? Why wouldn't you do that? Well, it's because in 2014, I knew that in 2015, I have 2 arrows pointing to 2 books over there, Meet Me in the Dark and Wasted Lust. And I knew in 2015 I was going to release these 2 standalone, sort of, quote, standalone spin-offs of 2 characters that come out of that series. And so I didn't want to put it on sale before then. And then by the time that came around, I was just too busy to fuck with it, really. So I just didn't put it on sale and forgot about it. And then in 2016, Podium Publishing picked up the audio for this series, and we're going to repackage it and do something with it. And so maybe that's coming this year, maybe not. I have no idea. But when they're ready, we're going to package it all up into one book called The Company and kind of do a re-release with the audio. So I'm glad I kind of have that in my back pocket, right? It's something I can do in the future, and it just restarts all the books from my backlist, right? When you do something clever like that. Also, the Mr. series has never been boxed up, and they won't be boxed up until, at the earliest, the end of 2017. Because 1 year, right? Wasted Lust has never been boxed up because it's technically the last book in a very long series. Anarchy Found is I'm probably going to do something with that this year, but I don't really know because this book is the first in a 3-book series about supervillain erotica. And I'm releasing the other books this year, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but definitely, I might put it on sale. It's been out for over a year now, but I don't know. So I'm just keeping that in my back pocket too, as well as Rock that released April last year. So this book is on my schedule to do a book club for this year. I don't remember which month, but it is on there. And I'm glad I have that left over too, because the thing about waiting a year is that if you wait a year to do something with these books, like put them on sale, you have a way to fill in the gaps in sales in the next year, right? And I'm going to show you that next. Well, in a couple slides. So, so I have some things in my back pocket here that I can use in the future for promos to just give me a little pick-me-up in sales when things start falling. And one thing, if you're going to take my advice and do things my way, don't give in to the temptation to run a sale when you see your sales dropping. Because remember, the sales aren't for money, they're for eyeballs. So you're not going to get a short-term result for that. It's a little bit long-term. You should try for a book bub if you can. And of course, if you just on a whim one day put in for a book bub and it's, too early to do a sale, but you get it, well, of course you're going to take it. Unless you get them all the time and you can just tell them no thank you. Because I have done that before. No thank you, book bub. And you should try and release at full price. And look, if you're in KU, that just doesn't count, okay? This is mostly for people who are wide. Because I don't think much of this is going to work if you're in KU. It's just a totally different animal. So don't put it on sale. If you're trying to get a book bub, don't put it on sale ever, ever, ever before you apply for that book bub. That's what you're saving it for, that very special book bub where you can get this big jump in sales and get a huge, lift in your readership. And you should have good reviews, of course, using your ARC list and a pretty cover that conveys your genre. Because they're really tight about genre over there because they know it sells. They know what kind of books each list is interested in. And so they do make decisions based on whether or not this fits in with what's selling on their list. So keep all that in mind. You don't want to give in because you're holding out for something bigger later. I can't even stress that hard enough. You want to hold out and not do something short term and shoot yourself in the foot for the long term. So that's really, really important. Okay, so here's a little graph, and we're going to talk about this all next week. I'm going to have a bazillion examples of this graph right here. But when to discount your books. I put the new release boxes under January, May, and September just for illustrative purposes. It doesn't have anything to do with when you actually release. I'm just showing you, if you release 3 books a year and you release a book in January, May, and September, then you should run a sale or box up a series or have a box set or do something special in March, July, and November, because that's halfway between your next release, right? Your release month should be decent. It should drop off a little bit in February. And if you don't release a book by March, they're going to just tank, okay? So that's when you want to run a sale. And that'll get you through April so that you can start all over again in May with your new release. It's a pattern. Do you see this? You have a new release in May, sales are good. June drops off, July tanks, you run a sale or a box set or do something special, and it picks you up and gets you through August until you get to September. Does that make sense? Because this is what the perfect year is about. It's about planning every month in a certain way that you get yourself through to the next release when the sales jump will happen. Okay, so when do I discount my books? Well, you'll see next week that I have very little time to pay attention to sales. And so it's usually I'm just like, okay, I'm not releasing a book here. I'm going to BookBub something. I don't know what. I'm just going to do it. And that's this one right here was for Mr. Perfect, so that one was actually planned. But I only run 3 to 4 sales using BookBub per year. And I usually do not promote the BookBub at all. Like, who has time for that when you're releasing books like I am? Yeah, I don't have time for it. So either BookBub does its job or it doesn't. Like, I don't care. It's just enough to get me through, right? That last little sales drop before I release the next book. That's all it is. And but I did run these promotions for Mr. Perfect back in November on the day before election, right? It was a good idea because otherwise my sales were already pretty bad for November, and I think they just would have been awful. So this is the schedule that I did. You can take a screenshot of this, pause this, write it down, whatever you want to do. I'm not advocating any of these people. I really didn't do any kind of analysis on them, but you can see from my bump in the graph that stacking these all together did yield me a pretty good result. And Mr. Perfect did make number 88 on USA Today, which is fucking ridiculous because it didn't sell that many books. But it was election week, people, and the threshold was pretty low. Feel free to go through these. I don't really have an opinion on any of them other than you can see for yourself in the graph. That's what they did, okay? So sales, BookBub ads, BookBub ads are great, and I know everybody wants one. However, they are expensive, but they do have a large list, and they do have reliable numbers, pretty reliable. Like, I just had a BookBub last week, and I don't think it did that well. But I didn't promote it very hard at all, so maybe it was me. I don't think there's much sell-through these days like there used to be in the good old days. I don't see that happening these days. So is there a long tail? I don't know. I think it really depends on author and, again, which book you put on sale, right? Like the one I just did was not a series. It was standalone. There's no doubt that a BookBub ad will get you results. Like, even when I did this Rick and Ronan 3-book set for 99 cents, it was 37 in the store, so that was great. However, you don't need a BookBub, and 99 cents is not always the answer. BookBub isn't always the answer. And I did this little experiment a couple years ago, 2015. Yeah, summer 2015, because I wanted to box up my entire Rick and Ronan series, which is 8 books. It's 7 books, though. I think it was 7 books in the series, because I didn't put the final novella in there. I hadn't written it yet. So I decided I didn't want to run it at 99 cents with BookBub. And if I ran it at $2.99 or higher, like the price, what they charge you to do that is just so fucking crazy. I just decided I was going to do it myself, and I did. And this book sold more than 7,300 copies in the first 2 weeks. Like, this book made $45,000 in the time it was on sale. Like, it's so crazy that a book that was already 2 years old, all the books were already 2 years old almost, I could still make $45,000 off this thing, right? And if you look at my my screenshot of my total sales in the top there, I don't know at one point in the month that I took this, but I took the screenshot for only one reason. It wasn't because of you guys, because I didn't know I was ever going to show anybody this. I took this because I noticed that the individual books, as well as the box set, got a lift off of this. And I was like, what the hell is happening here? Like Manic, book number 2 sold 749 and Panic sold 621. And this is when the Rick and Ronin, there's 2 Rick and Ronins. One's an omnibus, which is a trilogy, and the Rick and Ronin with no omnibus on there is the 7-book set. And the trilogy still sold 175. It's like, why? I don't know, but they did. And then at this point, the Rick and Ronin 7-book set had sold 950. Even Slack, the novella for Ford, sold 348. I was like blown away. I was like, I don't know why this is happening, but okay. Like I made so much money off of this whim of decision not to BookBub something. So I think, does it work every time? Oh, hell no. Hell no. This is not going to work again, right? I just got lucky. I mean, maybe it will, but I doubt it. But you're never going to find these little special things that happen just by fate or luck or whatever if you don't try it, right? So you're never going to know. Like I would have never known if I didn't decide not to do a BookBub with this. And it ended up selling 19,000 copies, I think. It was something ridiculous like that. I mean, it was just, I just don't even understand what happened, but it was great. So, do you run Facebook ads for promos and box sets? I showed you this ad last week with the 99-cent social media, and it worked really well because I told you that my goal was to make USA Today with that book, and it did. Number 100, whatever, it made it. So I was happy with that. But you know, it's up to you. I think you definitely get more if you plan it real well, like I did with Mr. Perfect or social media. But it gets really expensive if you want to pay for all those places. Like I don't add up what I pay because I don't care. As long as I'm making over my threshold for the month, I'm fine with whatever I need to spend. So I didn't add it up. But if you're, you know, not that free spirit with your American Express card, you probably want to keep track of that. Because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot that way either. Like you want to make sure that you're not going under, right? Okay, so let's talk about free books for a minute. I don't think free books are dead, but I think they're pretty close to being dead. Because let's just face it, most of the free book readers are now looking at KU, and they're now looking at the top 100 to find the books that they want to give a try, that they probably haven't tried before, right? So the pros are going free is that you could find new readers and you may get reviews. And in the short term, it won't hurt you. But freebie readers are a certain type of reader, just like KU readers are a certain type of reader. And they don't necessarily carry over into the non-KU, non-free realm of readers, if you will. And also you may get bad reviews because I feel like sometimes some of those readers get a little, I don't know, opinionated about their free book. I don't really have an explanation for it, but they seem more liberal with the bad reviews with the freebies. And long term, it will hurt you because, of course, if you give a book away free, that's just like having a sale, and it just lowers your chances or pushes it out months and months if you're ever trying to get a BookBub. So remember this box in the very first video, and I told you that you have to get out of the box. Well, I'm still saying that. You got to get away. Like, if you want long-term stability, you got to get away from the 99-cent sales as anything other than a bump to get you through to the next release. You have to get away from multi-author box sets and multi-author newsletter sign-up promos and Kindle Unlimited because these things are the gimmicks. And yes, they probably will help you short term, but they are definitely not going to help you long term. Like, I wouldn't say a multi-author box set is going to hurt you long term unless there's some kind of scandal with it. And even then, because we had a huge scandal with the one I did with my friends, it's probably not going to hurt you. But it's time away from you and your books that you have to put into this other collective set where I'm not sure you're getting as much out of it as you think you are. So you want to get out of that box, and you want to do that by having a good plan. But the bottom line is if your short-term benefits outweigh your long-term consequences, then do it. Like sometimes you just get in a bind and you feel like you just need to do something. And if that happens, then do it. Like I'm not telling you how to run your career for sure, because only you know what to do. But just think about it before you make a decision to do free books or any of this stuff, because every bit of it has a consequence when it comes to the new books that you're putting out now. And the new books are the ones that are going to carry you through your career. It's not these older books. The free book, the free first in series is not going to be what carries you through your career. It's always going to be the new release. So, what can you do that does not involve dropping your price? Well, you could box up a series and not put it on sale. Has that ever occurred to anybody? I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there who do that, and they're like, yeah, me. And if the series is long, like my social media with 6 novellas, I made 2 box sets, and people don't care. So don't put it on sale right away. Just make it $1 or 2 cheaper if you have to, and let it ride for a few weeks and see how it does. And if there's no improvement, then try BookBub or other ads. So, of course, you're going to drop your price if you do it BookBub, but you're giving other things, you're trying out other things, like I did with that Rick and Ronan box set. So, I'm not saying box sets are bad, because they're definitely not. They're definitely not. You just really have to concentrate on when is the right time to release it, how to respect your one-click fans who buy on release day, and not box it up too soon, and then use it properly when you decide to do it, because it's got a lot of leverage connected to a box set. You could always release an audiobook. I know most people probably can't afford to do it non-royalty share, and I feel that royalty share is probably a waste of time for everybody, so I don't promote that. But if you have extra money and you can manage the audiobook, like that's a really good way to get a bump in rankings and find a new readership over at Audible, where their listeners are just as rabid and great as the ones over on Amazon. So it's and they're usually completely different. So it's really is finding new people. And if you can get the audiobooks out, fairly quickly, then or release them all at the same time, then you can really, really have a little bump. You can write a long series and release close together. This can be novellas or novels, and I find this to be almost fail-proof. Like, I know not everybody's going to get the results that I get, but every time I do this, it just changes my whole year. So you can always plan that out. You can run a giveaway and promote the hell out of it. Like sometimes, you come up with a really great idea and a really great way to promote, and you can concentrate on that to get you through to your next new release. Or you could just do something really original and cool. Like just use your imagination to get people interested. But the bottom line is, if you don't need to do it, don't do it. And that goes for all of it. That goes for audiobooks. That goes for foreign translations. That goes for free books and discounts and box sets and multi-author anything. If you feel like you're doing okay and you can get through to the next release, don't do it. Just let it ride. Because I'll tell you, sometimes people jump into things too early and they shoot themselves in the foot, because where at this point in time, certain products, say an audiobook or foreign translation, might be worth less than it would be in a couple of years. So just don't be in a rush to do this stuff, you guys. Unless, you get a really great opportunity, of course. Just relax and look at it objectively and ask yourself, do you need to do this to get yourself through to the next release? And then only you can decide yes or no. But I'd just like to give you some examples of some cool things I have done to build momentum between releases in order to get me through to the next release day. And one of these is that I do these signed book order forms on my website. And you can see it on my menu. It says buy signed books. And I put these bundles up. And I have done this 3 times at least. I might have done it more. But I for sure did it for 321 with the Misters and Turning series. And so this gets people excited because I have a lot of paperback lovers in my fan world. And so they just, want to have a signed book, and that they get really excited about the swag, that I put together and the bundles that I put together, so it's kind of fun. You can leverage your cover models. Like, this is Raid Lasik, who is the cover model for Guns, and Katie Terranova, one of my street team members, sent him a t-shirt that says Spencer Shrike Bikes, because he was Spencer Shrike in the series. And he took a picture for us, and that was really fun. Like, all the ladies in the fan group went crazy. And then this other guy is Robert Ryder, and he's the model on Rock and the Ford book. He's just a really sweet guy, and he's just been around since my whole career. And Katie Terranova, again, got him to say happy birthday to me 1 year for my birthday. So this is just fun stuff that I can do, like get my fans excited. It doesn't matter that it's not about the books. And then I did this street team party in Vegas in 2015, so we all made a big deal about that. We were going to pick new street team members, and they all had to make a video, and the videos were funny. They were just really funny. And then in the fan group, I did this post called Random Shit and Shrike Bikes, and we had a Survivor edition. Like, we had this one period in the fan group where everybody was posting these hottie pictures of like half-naked men, you know? And we're like, we've seen this guy so many times, right? Like, he's just not worthy of our hottie thread. And so we had Survivor Edition, and if we thought he was good, we'd let him stay in the thread, and if otherwise we booted him off the island. So it was just kind of a fun little, and there wasn't no prize attached to it. It was just kind of a fun little thing to do in the fan group, right? Also, I have a store over at Society 6. If you don't have a store at Society 6, you might want to consider getting one. If you are any good in Photoshop, you can make the artwork yourself. Just make sure you own the rights to resell that image, because that's important. You'll get busted if you're selling somebody's artwork or image that you don't have the right to resell. So make sure you know about that. But I have the author store, and so every once in a while I'll put up new products for the new release. And that, again, just gets people excited about things. Or you could go to Europe with Janet Aston and take pictures of the Eiffel Tower and Big Ben, post them on Facebook. I had this book blog called New Doll Diction. And two of my street team members, Amber and Leah, did this meme for a while called the Hump Day Hottie. And they would go around and contact all the models and do little interviews with them and stuff. So I would promote that for the blog. And then book signings, of course, because people like to see you at book signings. And I know somebody was asking, like, is it worth it? Do you make any money? Well, yeah, I always make money, but I don't make a profit, because, like, if I'm going to fly to wherever, I'm going to fly first class, and when I get there, I'm going to stay in a nice hotel. So no, I don't make any profit. But it's fun, right? And you get to take these pictures that say Book Bash or Montreal Rare, and then post it online, and people are like, I loved meeting you, and thank you so much. You know, the fans really like that. So that's just another way to get your name out there. And then just take a shitload of pictures of everything you do. Like, you go to these things and you have a good time. You can also remind people that you have bitchin' teasers. Like, when I decide I have to say something, like I have to get people's attention, I always break out the Now I Fuck You With Paint teaser from Guns. These are all from Guns, man. I was like on a roll with this book. And people go, oh, what book is that from? And I'm like, it's from Guns, bitches. And this is the last book in the Rick and Runnin' series. And so I don't know if it sells books. I don't care. I don't even keep track. But it gets people interested. They look twice, believe me. And then when I first started releasing, not when I first started writing, because I first started writing in January 2012, and I didn't release my first book until September 2012. Well, while I was writing that book, I was doing all my marketing, like getting my Facebook and my Twitter and all that stuff set up. And I was looking online for blogs where I could run a blog tour for science fiction books. And I was having a really hard time finding like suitable places to help me promote the book. But I kept noticing that there was a lot for romance, and I really was not a romance reader. But I really wanted to get in on this book blogging stuff because it looked fun. Like, they just did these memes every week, and it just looked really fun. So I decided to become a romance book blogger, and I really had no intention of writing romance at this point in time. At all. I was totally into the science fiction stuff. But I started reading a lot of it so I can review it on the blog. And I got hooked up with all the PR bloggers and got on their list so that I got all the media kits, and I would put it up every day and run all their giveaways. And things just like took off for this blog, and it just really went crazy good. then I just never stopped. Like, even when I started releasing romance, it's just like I did this blog, and I sometimes I put up 2 or 3 posts a day every day for like more than a year, like almost 2 years. And I did this thing called the Friday Night Freebie for a really long time. Like, so many people have been on my Friday Night Freebie. And when I first started out, I would just, I think I was going to book signings, like this one for Kay Bromberg, for Christy Bromberg. Christy and I were signing at the Cleveland Author Event that very first year in 2014. And I remember I went to our table before the signing started, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give your books away on the Friday Night Freebie, so I'm gonna buy 3 copies. So I did, and so that's what I used to do. I used to go to book signings for me and pick up books for other people, signed ones, and give them away on my blog for free. It's just something I wanted to do. Like, Christy didn't care what I was doing. She's just like, whatever, Julie, whatever you're doing. But I just wanted to do it because it got people over to the blog, and it promoted Christy because Christy Brownberg's great. And then, like, I would do that in the beginning. I would just go around to the signings. Like, I remember at Book Bash, that was one of my first big ones. I would go around and be like, oh, I would like to give away your book on the blog. And, most of them were like, oh, not most of them, but some of them would be like, oh, I'll just give you one, which I really didn't want to do because I'd rather buy it from them. But this Friday Night Freebie thing went on for years. And see, Jana and I did one for Sexy and Wrong when Wrong came out. And then I've done CD a couple times because she's a good friend, like Christy. So you can promote other authors, and you can just be original, right? Like, the Friday Night Freebie was kind of fun, and it was really popular for a long time. I don't do it anymore because I just don't have time, but it was really, really fun. I really liked that blog. Other things that I've done, like not this past Christmas, but the one before, I ran Christmas promos. Actually, the last 2, I think I've run Christmas promos. So, like, I just put up a sign-up form, and I'm like, do you want to do a promo on the new adult addiction blog for, the 31 Days of Christmas or whatever it was called last year? And yeah, lots of people did, and it was really fun. It was great for everybody. And then I did another one for Valentine's Day, not this year, last year, and we did these too. And while I was doing all this blogging, I just got really involved in the blogger world. Like, I did all these blog hops, right? Like, I don't know who runs them anymore because I think the ones that I used to sign up for, I don't think she runs very many at all anymore. But I would just, get involved in all these different things, and all the bloggers hop, to one blog to another and leave comments, and you meet people and you become friends with them. And that's how I met a whole bunch of people, like at least 3 that I know right now who are really good friends were met through this blogging way back when. It's Brandy, who lives not too far from me. She's one of the bloggers. And Lexi Lynn, I'm sure like lots of people know Lexi. Lexi's from way back when. And Tiffy Fit, who is Brandy and Tiffany are on my street team. And so I've known them forever, right? And I met them through the blogging world. And so it was a really, really great way to meet people. Also, like when you go to these events, like if you go to the Book Expo America or romance reader conventions like RWA or RT, you meet up with all these people. Like I've met Lexi. Lexi lives in Sweden, you guys, or Switzerland. Switzerland, I think. Like she lives on the other side of the world, and I've met her a couple times already. So, it's just really kind of fun because you meet up with these people and you get to see them in person, and just it's a really small world and you feel connected to it. So I'm not telling anybody to blog for sure because it's a lot of work, but I'm just saying it's something that I did that helped me a lot, and I met a lot of cool people through it. So that was really great. Yeah, that's how I started making banners and started doing graphics, because I would want to make like a header for the book review that I was doing, and so I would make these little graphics for the books I was talking about on the blog, and it was just a lot of fun. So one thing I want to say about all this stuff that I'm talking about for finding new ways to get people's attention is that none of it has anything to do with me. Almost none of it. Like in the Friday Night Freebie, Jan and I did one together, but other than that, most of this has nothing to do with me. It's just fun. So I think that's something you need to keep in mind. It's just, you have to find a way to make it fun, and when you're having fun, other people are having fun with you. That's it. That's all. So sales and box sets, the take home message is don't do it unless you have to. And know what the difference is between having to and not having to. And next week, we're going to go through the entire perfect year. It doesn't matter how many books you release a year as long as you release two. Um, as long as you can release two, this is going to help you. But if you are somebody who releases 3 or 4 or 5, this is going to be amazing. And I think it'll change your life. So make sure you come back next week. And if you don't want to check back, of course, you can follow the blog below. And we're going to go through how to plan the perfect year. Also, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just leave a comment at the bottom and I'll get to it as soon as I see it. Thanks and see you next week.